Hey guys, this is Whalehater. We're doing a special packet tracer today. This one was a request from Sergio. So what's up, Sergio? What's going on? This packet tracer that we're going to be doing is basically building a network from the ground up. This is a kind of a skills final for CCNA2. And we're using this, the ITNW2421 networking with TCP IP as our guideline, and there's a rubric here. Now, some of the things that are listed are, one headquarter with at least 2 branch offices, implement at least 4 VLANs per site. So that's why we've got the 4. We've got the 2 branch offices from the headquarters, and then we've got 4 end devices on each one. Implement access control list according to the instructions below. We'll look at those in a second. Implement subnetting and variable length subnet masks for all LANs and WANs. Implement a routing protocol and set the necessary passive interfaces. Okay. Static routes will be used for backup or gateway of last resort purposes. Now, we're going to not do backup routes because I tried, and everything just got a lot really crazy with this type of setup. So we're just going to focus on the gateway of last resort. It's a lot easier and it satisfies the metric. All right. Now, I went through and basically just put this network together. I addressed everything so far, just the end devices, and I left the interfaces for the routers down because that's the main thing that we're going to be focusing on configuring today. I left one router out, and that's the HQ router, just to show you how I was going to put it together. But we can do that here shortly. Some of the other stuff that we're going to look at is all lines properly secured, either shut down or whatever. Use SSH rather than Telnet. We're going to display some warnings. Interfaces on switches, key interfaces only, and routers, LAN connections fully configured with descriptions. Now this one I forget often, so if you see me forget a description on any of the lines, just remember, I'm doing it wrong. Every line that we configure today is going to have a description. Have at least one server in your headquarters and implement port security on its interface. So that's the server in our HQ. And this is what we need to do for that server. 1. Use sticky secure max. We can do that. Shut down violation mode. All right. Maximum of 1 MAC address allowed on that line. Okay. Use an access control list on all routers and switches to only accept SSH connections from a specific device, IP, or VLAN. Okay. The access control list must use the remark command for proper documentation. Easy enough. Okay, VLAN configurations, 4 VLANs per site, blah, blah, blah. Native VLAN for trunking purposes and management VLAN. So I'm counting 4 VLANs for this, and then we need 1 for the trunk. So that's, that's that. And then 1 for the management of the devices. So I usually choose VLAN 99. It doesn't have to be, but that's just kind of what the packet tracers have been using, so I'll use that too. Implement DHCP for at least 1 VLAN. Now I'm going to use that. We're going to put a note here, DHCP, and we're going to put that right on this guy. Okay, so he's going to use DHCP. All right, implement the dynamic routing protocol RIP. So we're going to be using the RIP. We'll use RIP version 2 on this one. Implement passive interfaces in all LANs. So those are the passive. These are all the passive interfaces we're going to be using, keeping those things in the dark as far as routing going. And then the static backup we're not going to use, but we will use establish and propagate a gateway of last resort. Okay. And the rest of the stuff is kind of on you guys. It's not packet tracer stuff. One thing I will supply for you if you want is this thing. It is the routing and addressing table, not routing table, but addressing table for the entire packet tracer we're going to be doing today, as well as you can see that you have to have network documentation. And let's see, Yeah, that's packet tracer fire and network documentation. The PowerPoint presentation and the configuring copies of router and switches text document, that is basically, well, if you open this thing up, show run. Okay, so you have to print out, just copy this to a notepad, this building configuration. So from here down, just copy that to a notepad, and that's what that is. Configuration copies of router and switches. So each one of those has to have its own, has to have a notepad printed out or something like that. Or you can put it in a Word doc, whatever. Anyway, so that's kind of what we're going to be doing as far as what we're doing today. Okay, we don't have to look at that anymore. All right, so let's get started. We are going to get, and all that I just went through just to tell you kind of what we're going to, because this is a new idea for me. So we're going to be using the 2911 router. Let's open it up. We have to turn it off, and we have to configure it, the physical tab. We have to add that thing right there. What that's going to do is give us some serial interfaces. Turn it on. Okay. Now we can shut her down. Let's go over to our hookups. And we are going to hook it up with a serial cable. On this side, the branch 1 will use the 000 side, and on the other side we'll use the 001. 001. Okay. Let's rename it HQ router. Okay, so up here we also need a switch. Let's get that quick. Switches, and we're just going to use that 2960 switch right there. And let's rename that HQ switch. Okay. Now, this has been following a very specific type of interface addressing scheme, so we have to keep it consistent for ease of use later. So let's grab our Ethernet cable, and the manager is going to hook up to the fast Ethernet, and then over here it's 1, and then of course accounting will be 2, sales will be 3, HR will be 4. In that order, so all of these are all the same. So managers 1, accounting's 2, sales is 3, HR is 4 on all the switches. Now what I did do, like I said before, is I went through and I addressed all these things, so just to save some time for the video. Now all of those interface, all those end device addressing is all in here. So HQ manager, there's the addressing, there's the subnet mask, here's your default gateway. So those are all done, just like I said, just to save some time. All right, so the switch is connected to Gigabit 0. And you could, let's see, I think we're going to pick 02 and hook that to 01. The HQ server right here is G01 on the switch. That's why it's that little S there. G01. Okay, so everything is hooked up except for the internet router. To do an internet router, we're just going to use that copper crossover cable just to give it some differences here. And you're going to do G02 is going to hook up to the internet router. G0, well, what did I have down here? Internet router G02. Okay. All right. So now that that's done, we can start configuring our router, HQ router. Let's bring up our command line. Enter. Configuration terminal. First thing is first. Let's give it a host name. HQ router. Next, we'll do our enable secret Cisco. Now you'll notice this big yellow box over here that says all passwords are Cisco, all usernames are admin. So that's what we're going to be using just for ease of use within this packet tracer. Line con 0. Password Cisco. Login. Don't forget the login command. I often do. Okay, let's get out of there. Username admin. Password is Cisco. Okay, so that's done. Now let's change the domain name. We need to do IP domain dash name cisco.com. The reason why we're setting an IP domain name is for the Cryptokey Generate RSA, and this is going to be useful for our SSH. So now that we've got the IP domain name set and we have the RSA set, we need to do the SSH. So IP SSH version 2, enter. So that's set, so we're using IP version 2 now. Okay, now let's start configuring our interfaces. Now all of our sub interfaces are going to be right over here with the subnet masks all listed as well. So interface G00.10, enter. Alright, description, and let's see. We're going to do VLANs in order. So because this was 1, 2, 3, 4, we're going to do 10, 20, 30, 40. They're going to be the same on all the routers and switches. So the sub interfaces are going to follow that, likewise being .10, .20, .30, and so on. All right, description, connect, let's see, sub interface for VLAN 10, enter. Next, we'll do our encapsulation mode, .1Q 10. Let's add an IP address. Come on, fingers, do your thing. Address of 172.16.1.1, subnet mask 255s, and 224. This is a /27 subnet mask. All right, now we are going to be setting up for our, there's a extra credit down here. Implement NAT for one VLAN at the headquarters to an outside device. Now the outside device that we're going to be going to is this Google server, but we're going to have to tell the router which interfaces on this router are inside so they can be translated to the outside. So anything pointing at the internet are going to be outside interfaces, anything inside is going to be, well, inside. Okay. So we're going to say so just to save time so we don't have to come back and do these later, IP NAT inside, enter. Alright, now we can just use the up arrows to go through these things quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's change that to a 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Description, sub interface for 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. D dot 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's bring this down, bring up our addressing table. This is going to be .33. Everything else is the same. 33. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. IPNet inside. Yes, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Change that to a 30. Come on, 30. Okay, this one is a 65. And NAT inside. This next one is a 97. NAT inside. Okay, the next VLAN we're going to use is for the native trunking, and that's going to be VLAN 45. So we'll just use the sub interface as 45. 45 trunk. Say native trunk line 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, this one, 45 is 129. NAT inside, yes it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next is our management VLAN, and the interface for that's going to be 99. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can get rid of all this stuff and just say 99 management. We'll call it device management. Device management. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 99. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one is 161. And IP NAT inside again. Okay. Next, let us go to interface. Let's just do the G00 and the no shutdown command. Turn those buggers on. Okay. Now let's do interface G02, and that's the one that's going to be going out to the outside internet router. Okay. That one, enter description. Yeah, description. Connects to internet. Okay, good enough. All right, no VLANs for this guy, but this is going to need to be translated to the outside address. So we're going to use NAT outside, and this is important later. If you guys don't really remember how NAT works, just go look up my video on how to configure NAT, or how NAT works, whatever I called it. But it was a video I did like, I don't know, a week and a half ago or so. Outside, IP NAT outside. No shutdown. No shutdown. IP address. For this one, let's see here. It's 192.168.0.13.255. 252. Right. Now we can do the S000 interface. All right, IP address, let's see, here's 192.168.0.1, and that's also a /30, so 252. No shutdown. This is IP NAT inside. Okay, because that's not out to the internet. That's still within our intranet. Okay, so that's why we say that's the inside still. Okay, I think that one's done. Just looking over my notes here. Yes, this packet tracer requires extensive notes. All right, let's do interface S001, IP address 192. Oh, you know what? I did it again. I forgot to make that description on that guy, didn't I? All right, description. Remember what I said? If I forget a description on a line, I'm doing something wrong. Connects to branch 1. Okay. This IP address is going to be 5. Everything else is the same there. IP NAT inside. Description. We can do this. Two connects to branch 2 because that's that serial interface going off to this direction. No shutdown. All right, I think we're done with our interfaces. Now that that one's up and running, we do need to make a default route to the internet though. So if these guys need to reach the internet, they're going to have to go through HQ router. To do that, let's give ourselves a default route. And let's see, the X interface is going to be G02. Oh, I forgot the IP route command. There we go. Now we have a default route to the internet. All right, let's start configuring router RIP version 2. Redistribute static. Now, redistribute static is going to tell all the other routers about this address and that it's available. Enter. Okay, passive interfaces. Let's give some passive interfaces. No, those are going to be all the interfaces that are going to be over here. All those sub interfaces too. G00.10, 20, 30, 40, 45, and 99. Okay, let's start advertising the networks that we're going to be attached to. The networks that we're using are the 172s and the 192s. So that's all we really have to do is 172.16.0.0. Now these are classless addresses in the network statements, but because we're using version 2, it won't do that. So we'll just press enter there, and it'll configure itself with all the other interfaces that have that 172.16 address. 168.0.0. Now, because this is a class B address, it only pays attention up that far. A class C address, which is the 192, pays attention up this far. And I know it's 2 zeros on the end, but it's not always going to be that way. Enter. Alrighty. I think we're done. Just do a question mark here, looking at other stuff. Yeah, we're good. Exit. Oh, no. Router RIP. No auto summary. Don't forget that one. Exit. Okay, now we're done. All right. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to do that extra credit piece down here where we have that NAT translation. We're going to translate the HQ manager traffic to a globally routable address. And we're going to do that by creating a pool of addresses to use and then creating an access list that allows certain traffic through, and then we're going to make it so those two things are tied together in the NAT inside source list command. All right, first things first. IP NAT. Oh wait, hold on here. Yeah, NAT pool, and we're going to call our pool really something original. Pool. The pool we're going to use today is the 143. Let's see here. Yep, 143, 100, 200, 1, because that's the starting address. The ending address is 143.100.200.1. .2. It's a /30. That 252 tells you it's a /30. So there's only two possible addresses, a 1 and a 2. Okay, so then they give the netmask command, and that's 255, 255, 252. So we just created our pool. Now we need to create our access list that allows that pool to be used. Who's allowed to use it, rather. Okay, so first we'd say IP access list standard 1. Now we're in the access control list configuration mode. Let's give the remark command and not forget that, like I usually do. And we're going to say allow VLAN 10 for network address translation. Enter. Okay, now we can start giving our actual permit commands. So we're going to permit 172.16.1.0. That's the network that VLAN 10 is attached to, that one. So now we have to give a wildcard mask. Now a wildcard mask is basically just the subnet mask, and then you subtract 255, 255, 255, and 255 from all of the octets. So whatever you have left over is a wildcard mask. In this case, if you take 255s and subtract it from there, you're going to end up with 0 for the first octet, 0 for the second octet, 0 for the third, and then the last octet you're going to get a 31. That tells this router that anybody from this network and this network only is going to be allowed for network address translation. Now that's important because the HQ server is also going to be on that VLAN 10. Enter. All right. Now we want to make another remark command, and we're going to say deny all other traffic. And then you just give the deny any command. Okay, so we're done with that access. Ooh, doggone it. Doggone it. I should have made that a 2. Oh well. Enter, enter, enter. Now we need to make another access control list, and we'll just flip-flop these because on my notes I have it the other way around, but we're just going to flow with the punches here. IP access list standard 2 this time. Let's give our remark command, and we're going to make a new access control list that's going to be working for the SSH. So this access control list is going to allow all traffic to go to the switches, the routers, and configure them remotely. So this access control list 2 is, let's see, only managers are allowed access to this device. Enter. Alright, permits. Now we go through and we just give the permits for the anything that's the manager. So this one's going to be 172.16.1.2 on this router. Then we're going to allow, let's see, we also want a 172.16.2.2, and then we're going to also have a 172.16.3.2. Okay, does that make sense? We're just going to give the host command so we don't have to give a wildcard mask. 172.116.1.2. Any. And we're going to change that to a 2.2 and then to a 3.2. Alright, let's give another remark command. And we're going to say all other access denied. Enter. And then we'll give the deny any command. So only those guys, nobody else. Only those few computers, not the whole VLAN, just those computers. That's it. Okay, let's get out of here. So now we're done with both of our access control lists. Now what we're going to do is we're going to tie this pool to this access control list to allow for that that network address translation. This is that extra credit thing again. All right. So we give the command nat sort inside source list. Now the list is going to be this list right here, 1. The pool is we're going to tell it what pool of addresses to use, and then we're just going to use our name pool. Pool. The capitalization is critical. Now let me just show you something quick before I hit enter. I did the question mark. And you see this overload command. Now that's if you want to make it PAT, port address translation. And that will overload a ton of traffic onto just one of those 2 addresses, and then the other one will be available if it's needed. But anyway, that's how you configure PAT, is just that one extra code or one extra command on this line. But we're not going to use that. We're just going to enter. That's just free with the price of admission today. All right, what is next? All right, I think our banner is next. Banner, message of the day. I like to use our double hashtags. \1, authorized access only. Exclamation point. Enter. All right, lastly, we have to do our line VTY 0 through 4. Now this is what we're going to use for our excuse me. This is what we're going to use for our SSH for accessing this router rather. So in here, we give it the access IP access class command, and we're going to tell it that we want to use this, or where I just lost my place here. This access control list that we configured up here, we want to use that number right there to tell it only those guys can access the VTY lines. Enter. Oh, that's right. In. Anything else? No. So IP access class in. Enter. How is that an invalid name? What the heck? Okay, now I know what I was doing wrong. So IP access class translate to IPv6 access class, and you just need to do the regular access class command. I was messing that up. Okay, so now we can use our 2 in. Don't use the IP. Wrong. Okay, that's done. Next, we want to make sure that only SSH traffic is allowed. So what we just did is we only allowed these. Where did I put them? We just said that only these IP addresses are allowed in, but we didn't tell them if it's Telnet or SSH. Now we need to do that. Transport SSH. Oh, transport input SSH, and then we hit enter. Okay, I think this one is completely done. Yeah, it is. So let's give our copy run start command. Enter, enter. Oh, right. So now let's do something here. New text. We're going to call this router. New text document switch. Holy cow. Whatever. Okay, so let us save this quick before anything else happens and open up our router notepad. From here on our router, our HQ router, let's do our show run command, and we're going to get that very first configuration thing. Now this is that thing they wanted you to print out. So what we're going to do is from, oh, hold on here. You know what I need to do is I didn't do is configuration terminal. So even I make mistakes, that's okay. There is forgiveness. Line VTY 0 through 4. We want the login local command to be given. Make sure that you give that. The second thing that I forgot to do is back here I didn't do service password encryption. So that's gonna encrypt all the passwords that we used, all those Cisco's. Now the local login is going to use that username and password that we configured earlier for the SSH inputs. Okay. Now show run. Cycle through. Let's go to the top here and grab a hold of this command right there, the service password encryption, all the way down. Copy that, paste that. Now what we're going to do is go through and get rid of all these exclamation points. We don't want any of those. Go through and get rid of those. All right, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to just cheat a little bit here, and we're going to move some things around in here and then use this on the next router. It's going to save us a ton of time. It's really fast and simple and fun. So let's get our next notes a-going. All right. The first thing that we need to do, we don't have to do it, but it just makes me feel more comfortable, is get rid of, let's see, our passwords, change those to Cisco. This licensing ID, you can get rid of that. You don't need that. You can get rid of these. Before you do any of this, though, you should probably print that page out for your records, just so you have it. You don't need this. Now, one thing you do want to do is press enter here on this G00, space over, no shutdown. And that's going to turn on all the sub interfaces as well. So you don't need to put no shutdown on all the rest of those. That's just that one. We're going to do branch router 1 next. So we can change this to B1 router. One thing that doesn't come into the running config file is that RSA encryption and all that. But one of the things that you need before you can do that is you have to have the IP domain name first. So let's just cut that, paste it up here, enter, and over here Cryptokey Generate RSA. And we're just going to copy that and put that here. And then enter, and then we're just going to put 1024. Okay, just moving some notes around here. Don't mind me. Okay, so that's done. Those are all the interfaces. Those should all be the same, so that's not going to be matter. You can get rid of these though. IP NATs, you don't need those. All the rest of the information is going to be similar, but we want to readdress these things. So for branch 1, we're going to do basically change all those to 2s, okay? So 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, last but not least 2. Since this one's not used, we're just going to get rid of that one. This one as well is not used on branch 1, so we're going to get rid of that because we don't need to configure it. Serial 00 is used. It's not an IP NAT inside, so we can get rid of that. And the address for serial 00 is serial 001 is not used on branch 1, so we can get rid of that. Okay, VLAN shut down. That is all the same. It's still going to advertise those same networks, even though the addresses are going to be different. So we'll just leave those the same. Let's see, we don't need this. We do not need that because the default pool is going to be, or that pool is going to be on HQ router. So that means we don't need this right here because that's for the NAT. So we don't need the access list 1. We do need the access list 2 though. Okay, so leave that. This up arrow C, change that to a hashtag on both of those. Here's another password we can change to Cisco. Okay, and the rest of that is all the same. And the last thing I like to do is just add a couple of enters at the end just to make sure, and do copy, run, start. And that way it'll save automatically. So let's just go through and make sure we've got all this. Oh, yep. I forgot about this guy. So no shutdown on that. So again, we're just checking stuff out here. Let's see. Our remarks are the same, only managers allowed to access device. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, so let's just save that quick. And enter. Conf T. So let's do it. Let us open up the router notepad. We're going to say Control All, or Control A for select all, and then Control C for copy. Come on over here. Just want to look at one other thing. Username. Okay, I think we're good. Now we say paste, and it's going to take a second, and it's going to go whoop. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Now what I'm going through, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for anything that didn't get configured properly. So let's go to the top here. Looks like we got everything in there. Okay, so the service password encryption came through. Hostname B1 router changed. Enable secrets. Username admin. Okay. IP domain name Cisco.com. did our RSA. That worked. Did the 1024. SSH version 2 was enabled. Gigabit Ethernet 00, no IP address, and the no shutdown command, which turned on all the sub interfaces. So our sub interfaces got all done. Those are all 2s, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 2. No shutdown, got that one turned on. Okay, so version 2, we got all our sub interfaces on the passive. Advertising these networks, no auto summary, good. Access list 2, remark. Only managers are allowed to access this device. Everything else is looking good. Okay, it looks like everything got configured properly. So that's really exciting. That saved us a ton of time, right? Isn't that nice? I think that's really nice. So that one did a copy run start, right? Yes, it did. So we can shut that down. Okay, now let's see how it turned on automatically over there? Isn't that neat? It so is. Now let's open B2 and we'll go back to our router pad. Configuration. Oops. There we go. All right, now let's go down to branch 2, and again we're just going to change all those to 3s like we did before. So 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, and this one is going to be 6, not 2. 6, and this is not 000, this is 001 right over here. Connects to, oh dang it, I forgot this on the description, connects to branch 1. We're going to have to remember to go back and change that to connects to HQ router. Should have done that on the last one. Let's just do that real quick. Interface 000, description, connects to HQ router. Okay, now that's done and we don't have to worry about that one anymore. Okay, that's 6, no shutdown. What else? All those are going to be the same. All that's going to be the same. And all that's going to be the same. Let's change this to a B2 router. Yep, all that's going to be the same. Save. Copy. Paste. Shaw. Okay, now we're just going to go through again and make sure everything got done properly. So it's B2 router. Enable secret. Whoa, got an adjacency. Woohoo! Everything's working. Okay, so we'll go back up here. We're looking for ambiguous command stuff. We're looking for unrecognized command. We're looking for didn't work. Any of those things, just to make sure everything's in there right. We're looking for IP address overlaps, blah, blah, blah. We don't want those either. That sucks. That's 2 in. Okay, cool. So that one's done. Now let's do our last router. And that's going to be our internet router. All right. Let's open him up. Configuration terminal. Let's get our router command list here going. Now, most of this stuff is going away. All right. Most of this stuff's going bye-bye. So, internet router. We can change this to a G01. Get rid of that no IP address and give it the IP address 65.100.200.1 subnet mask. Speed auto, no shutdown. We want to turn that interface on. Alright, that one's it. Now we want to configure Gigabit Ethernet 2. So let's just change this to a 2. We don't need to configure descriptions on any of this stuff. This is just going to be an internet router, no big deal. Now that one doesn't need to be there either. Nope. Can do. We don't even need that. No shutdown. Okay, now let's make this the right stuff. So that's going to be a 252. And this right here, 192.168.0.14. And then the rest of these can all get deleted. RIP version 2, we will advertise a little bit, but we're not going to advertise most of this. Okay, the ones that we do want to advertise is the 65 network, because that's up here. Now 65 falls into the A range, so that's the only thing it's paying attention to. We can leave those at zeros, it doesn't matter. And then we're going to leave that network 168 or 192.168.0.0. That we're going to leave that one alone. Going to get rid of the access list because we're not going to be using that here. This is going to be internet router. Get rid of this. Let's just copy this here. Copy, paste. We'll just use the Cisco login. Authorized access only. Yeah, I think we got the rest of this done just fine. Just looking it over, giving us one last look over. Okay, I think we're good. Copy, save. Now, as you go through and do these, you can print these off for your records. Paste. What the heck? Oh. That was the last thing I copied, wasn't it? Copy. There we go. Paste. Yay. Okay, we're just going to go through again and look. It's a lot, going over it and looking is a lot faster than doing it to begin with. Invalid name. Do you see what I did? I did an invalid name. So that's the stuff we're looking for. Invalid input. I should have had an underscore or a hyphen. No spaces allowed. Dumb. So because I didn't have a host name, Cryptokey Generate did not work. And because I didn't have a valid host name, none of this worked as well. So what we can do is we will do a hyphen and then copy this whole thing again. And it's okay if we kind of go over it once before. Same information configured twice doesn't make any difference at all. Alright, let's see if it worked this time. Yes, it did. Service encryption, da-da-da. Bam, bam. Cryptokey Generate, that worked that time. So because we had that, IP version 2, or IP SSH version 2 worked. Oh, the difference a host name makes, huh? Okay, that got addressed properly. No shutdown. No shutdown. Awesome sauce. Those all got advertised like they should. Banner, Cisco login. Okay, cool. We're good. What I like to do now is just click on this guy, or you can highlight him, and just click this new cluster. Makes him look more like the internet, right? Internet. Cool. Now it looks official. Okay, now let's start going through and configuring our switches. So we can forget about our routers. I love seeing that there's all green lights now. Let's go up to our HQ switch. Configure. All right, in our configuration terminal, let's start with a host name. We'll start with hostname HQ switch. Enter. Do our service password encryption. So all those will be done. Linecon 0. Password Cisco. Login. Exit. Enable secret Cisco. All right, IP domain name. Oops. It's cisco.com. Let's do our Cryptokey Generate RSA 1024. Okay. IP SSH. This is for our SSH connections, version 2. Now this is really important, something that I often forget about, and that's giving the IP default gateway. We need to have this configured properly. So the default gateway for this switch, the HQ, is going to be our interface that it is configured on. So this one is the IP address that it's going to be using is in the 162 range. So our gateway address is going to be that 161. So up here, if I'm on the right thing here, our switch is going to be 162, so it's going to be right there. 172.16.1.161. Enter. Let's give ourselves a username of admin and a password of Cisco. All right. Pull up your switch notepad and let's just do something for quick. 10 name manager. VLAN 20 name. I'm going off my notes, but all that stuff is right down here. Name accounting. VLAN 30 name sales. VLAN 40 name HR. VLAN 45 name native. VLAN 99 name device management. Copy that. Save it quick. Going back in here, click here, paste, enter. Oh, again I missed. Give it a hyphen. Enter. Did it again, didn't I? Will I ever learn? Okay. So what we just did there is created all the VLANs that are going to be used on the switch. And those are going to be the same VLANs that we're going to use on all the switches. That's why we put it in those notepad here. All right, moving on. Let's get out of this VLAN configuration mode. And let's start configuring and giving descriptions and all that happy stuff to the interfaces that these guys are going to be connected on. So on so this is just for the HQ switch is going to be that G02 interface, or actually it's going to be, that's wrong. That's a G01 because the server is on G01. So that was a configuration change. Surprise. Interface range. Let's see, F01, comma G01. All right, switch port, mode, access, switch port, access, VLAN 10. All right, so that's as far as we're going to go for those two right there on switch port stuff. We're going to have to implement port security, like as per right here. Talks about giving that sticky addresses and all that stuff. So we want it. We got it on the VLAN 10. Now we want to give it a description. Description HQ Manager VLAN. Enter. Yeah, I think that's good enough. Let's do this. G01, and we'll finish configuring that one. So the first thing it wanted us to do was give it what? Sticky addresses. So that's switch port, port security, MAC addresses sticky. Enter. Switch port, port security. Enter. Switch port, port security. Maximum allowed MAC addresses is 1. So we're just going to put a 1. Enter. Switch port, port security. Violation. So if a problem happens, what do we want to do? Shut her down. And that's it for that. Okay. Next, let's do interface 2. F02. Switch port mode access. Switch port access VLAN 20. And let's give ourselves a description. Accounting VLAN. What do we call the other one? HQ Manager VLAN. Accounting VLAN is good enough. Okay, I think we're done there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3. So interface 3. 1, 2, 3. Got lost there. Mode 1, 2, 3, 4. 30. And this is going to be sales. Four. And this is the HR. Alright, let's see. Now we need to do interface VLAN 99. Let's do that in a bit, actually. We'll just do this physical interface instead of a virtual one for now. So VLAN 2. Switch port mode trunk. Switch port trunk native VLAN 45. Description native VLAN. Okay, I think we're done there. Now, another thing about securing these lines is we want to shut down any lines that we're not using. By default, switches have all their interfaces up. So let's give the interface range, and this is F05 through 24, since there's 24 ports total. Enter, and we're just going to shut them down. Those are all shut down now. All right. Just looking at my notes quick again, just to make sure we've got everything that we need. Okay, now let's go to the interface VLAN 99. And this is going to be our switch virtual interface. And that's going to be this one right here. IP address 172.16. This one, not the others. 162. Let's see, at 224. Description. Switch management line. No shutdown for just good measure. Let's see, give ourselves a query here and make sure there's nothing else that's in there that we need. Okay, I think we're good there. Let's configure our banner message of the day to make sure we keep all the good little boys and girls out of our junk. Next, let's configure our. We have to configure our SSH access control list. Now this one I'm going to do it per notes this time. So IP access list standard 1. So now we are in the access control list. Let's give ourselves a remark command. Only managers are allowed to access this switch. Let's say device, like we did last time. Permit. Now we're going to go through and make sure that only the manager accounts are allowed to access that. So let's give ourselves the host command 172.16.1.2 like we did last time. Enter. And remember, like as before, it's just 2.2 and 3.2. 2.2, 3.2. Let's give ourselves another remark. Deny all other traffic. And then give the deny any command. Okay, let's get out of here. Line VTY 0 through 15, I believe. Alright. Let's give ourselves the access class 1, the one we just configured right up here. Did it again. In. Enter. So the in is going to let us allow the SSH in, and it's going to use the access control list to figure out who gets to control what. Login local. Transport input SSH. That's the only stuff that's allowed to come in is SSH traffic. Okay, I think we are finished here. Copy, run, start. Do, show, run, show run. Okay, just like before, we're going to copy this entire thing here so we can just save ourselves tons and tons and tons of time. We're going to start right here, service password encryption, copy it all the way down to the end. Copy. Let's get ourselves there. Again, let's go through and just highlight all of that stuff there. Let's change our passwords here to, come on baby, there we go, password Cisco. Let's change these to the hashtags. Okay. Now we don't need that one. We're going to move down to branch 2, or branch 1 is the next switch we're going to configure. So our switch virtual interface is going to be the 2.162. So let's change that to 2. Our default gateway is going to be 2 as well, 2.161. Right, so that's right. We don't need that. Make sure that gets out of there. And let's give ourselves a no shutdown command there. Copy that just in case we need it. And look, we needed it already. Copy. All of these can be deleted up to right there. Interface, and let's just give ourselves the range command again. And then give it -24. 5 through 24, shut them down. Oh crap. Be careful. We can get rid of the spanning tree. Cisco. Okay, HQ we're going to change to B1. Now remember, you have to set the IP name, or the IP name first before we can give that Cryptokey Generate. .1024 is what we're going to use there. Okay, right here we can get rid of that. Let's take this whole list, copy it, and put it right before the VLANs. Actually, let's cut it. Say exit, so we get out of that VLAN configuration mode. Okay, it's going to go through here, do our interfaces, make sure we got our no shutdown, VLAN 99 is correct. Okay, this we don't need actually. I wasn't paying attention before, but we don't need that. Bye-bye. Okay. Bye. So just as a side note, I don't know if I explained this earlier or not, so I'm going to do that now. Make sure that if you're going to hook up your switches, it's from Gigabit Ethernet 02 up to the 00 interface on the router. I don't know if I don't remember dude saying that or not, but there you go. Now you know. Okay, so the rest of this is valid. I think that's all we're going to need. Copy. Let's do B. Oops, not the router. Idiot, the switch. Paste. Okay, let's go through and make sure everything got turned in the right direction. Service package encryption. Enable secret Cisco, domain name, Cryptokey Generate. Got it. SSH version 2. All those are correct. Oh, should have done that better. This is going to be not HQ Manager VLAN, but Manager VLAN. So let's copy this, save it. Let's go through and we're going to just look again to see what else is there that we might need to change. Those are all down. Perfect. The only thing I can think of is we should have left that Gigabit Ethernet 01 on, interface G01, and make sure it's shut down. So we'll do that on this next one. Okay, looks like we got it, guys. Awesome sauce. Configure T, and then we're just going to paste in that what we had before. Enter. So we changed the description. Now let's copy this. Enter to shut down that Gigabit Ethernet 0. Okay, so I think that's it. Now we've got those working properly. Let's just verify our changes. Gigabit Ethernet is shut down. And then this has been changed to Manager VLAN. Okay, cool. Awesome. We can shut that one down. Let's bring up branch 2. And we are going to change these yet again. This is going to be branch 2, and the rest of these should be the same, except when it comes to okay. Our switch virtual interface, of course, is going to be a 3 there and a 3 there. The rest of that stuff should remain the same. Looking over some notes quick to make sure that we've got everything in there properly. I think we're good. So just changing those few addresses, and I think we are ready to rock and roll here. Okay, let's copy all of that down. Open up our configuration terminal and paste it in. A lot faster, right? Aren't you glad you're watching this video? Okay, again, let's go through and just make sure we got everything in there properly. B2 switch, B2, version 2. Okay, looks good to me. Now for testing it. Let's look through some of our routing tables and make sure that that static address got moved around. Oh, you know what we didn't do yet, and I needed to do it, and I forgot to do it until this point. We're going to do that DHCP for this guy over here. Now that's something we didn't do, did we? No, we did not. All right, configuration terminal. Cisco. Oh, it's got a password now. Cool. Let's grab my notes quick here. All right. So let's go back into our configuration terminal, and we're going to turn on DHCP for the B2HR LAN. So first off, we do IP DHCP excluded addresses. Now the only address on this LAN that we want to exclude is going to be right here. Let's see, this is number 4. We're going to want to exclude that 97 because that's going to be on our VLAN 4, right? So 172.16.3.90 and 7. So that's the one address we do not want to hand out, even by accident. All right, what's next here? Now let's create our pool. IP DHCP pool. And this is going to, we're just going to name it pool again. Who cares? Lack of originality, central right here. Network. Now we're going to give it the range of IP addresses to hand out. 172.16.3.96. That's the network address. That's just the network address. And the subnet mask is what's going to tell it how many of those addresses it can hand out. 224. What'd I do? Oh, too many 255s. That's the problem. There. Now it should work. Now we have to tell it what the default router address is, and we can just copy that right there. Actually, let's copy this, because I don't think we need to have the subnet mask on this one. Paste. Ta-da! All right, let's exit there. Exit. Copy. Run. Start. Yes, yes, yes. Now let's see if it works. Let's go over to B2H2 router, desktop, configuration, DHCP. Look at that, isn't that cool? It worked. Now let's open our B2 router and say show IP route. We're looking for that. Yep, it's in there, default route. Yay! Cool, cool, cool. Let's go over here. It's got it as well. Awesome, man, this is great. Now, this is the part where I'm biting my nails. I really want to be able to say this is going to work 100% for sure, but it might not. Let's open up HQ router, or HQ manager. Everything's been configured there. Let's open up our pings. Ping, and we're going to ping the Google server. That's down here. So that's that address right there. 65.100.200.2. Cross our fingers. Let's see if we even have a route to that thing. You know what? I'm thinking we might, because we don't have a default route back, we might be in trouble here. So let's open up this quick. Yeah, like I thought, we don't have a default route back because it's going to get translated to the 143, or at least it should, but it might not. It's not going to know where to send it. So let's real quick do an IP route. Let's give it a default route, and we're just going to give it the exit interface of whatever the heck this interface is. So many screens open here. Exit interface back to that it's G02. Okay, so oh my goodness, I'm in too much of a hurry. Get rid of all that. Configuration terminal. Paste that back in. Copy. Okay, so now it knows where to send it at least. This one, show IP route. Okay, it knows where to send that packet, so we're good there. Let's go back here and let's go to the simulation mode over here. Get this the heck out of our way. I'll put it over here. Let's hit enter. Show none, edit filters. Let's just look at the pinging traffic. That's what I call it, ping traffic. Increase our speed. Forward. Okay, let's look at the packet now. It says, oh, it's just got this is an ARP request. Where is it? No, okay. So it's coming from a destination 172.16.1.2, and that's that manager PC right there. It's going to 65.100.202. Now, it just got to the router. That's where it's coming from originally. It's where it's going to. Now, it says it's going to destination IP address is source address is 143.100.201. So that it's working. Isn't that cool? And that because it got translated from the private address range to a public address range. So it worked. Cool. 65.100.202. That's still the same. So let's go exit out of there and capture forward. So it says, whoa, I have no idea where that goes. Let's see where the next one happens. We might have to configure something a little different. That first one failed. Okay, so it got to where it needed to be. It says here, coming into the server, it's coming from this address, going to him. And he goes, okay, that's mine. I'm going to look at it. And then it gets turned around. It says the source address is me, the server, and I'm sending it back to that address, whoever that is. And we're going to capture forward the internet. He's like, holy smokes, I don't know what to do with that. So let's see what happens with our next packet. We might have to do another little bit of configuring. Yep, that default route worked that time. Cool, huh? So let's look at the packet again. So coming in, it's from 65.100.202. That's the source. Coming in as well, the destination is going to be 143, but we know that is the NAT translated address. Now, as it goes out, it's going to go out back to the manager over there. And it's still coming from the same source address, the server, but the destination address got translated again back to the private address range of 172.16.1.2. Isn't that cool? And then we can look over here, and we have 2 timeouts, and if we turn it back to that, we get a reply and another reply. We're awesome! Aren't we awesome? We are. Okay, if there's I'm going to wrap this thing up. I think we've got everything covered that we need to have covered. Let's just save this before anything else happens. And if you have any questions, or if something didn't make sense, or you need help, don't hesitate to comment below or email me at whalehater@gmail.com. I would rather you put a comment below because that also helps others. It kind of is a self-policing fact sheet down there. If you have a question, it's better that other people who have that same question might just read your comment and go, hey, that's cool. So that about wraps it up. If you guys would like this sheet, like I said before, I will send this to you. It makes life a lot easier when you know the direction you're heading in. All right, guys, talk to you later. Peace.